folks, live on the phone, we've got Senator Brian Strickland with us. Good morning, Senator. How are you?
Hey, good morning, Cole, Darrell. How are y'all?
Doing great. Doing great. Happy to be here. It's a beautiful day. Hopefully it is where you are.
Yes, sir. Sun's shining down this way in McDonough as well.
Good deal. All right. So, Senator, you may be a little unfamiliar with the area that we're in here. We're up in Clarksville, Habersham County, beautiful northeast Georgia, right nestled in the foothills.
Yes,
and there are a lot of folks out there that may be going, who in the world is Brian Strickland? So that's the big topic of discussion this morning, and we've got to go right out of the gate. So who is Senator Brian Strickland?
Sure. So, Senator Brian Strickland, I am state senator down in McDonough, south of Atlanta. My state Senate district covers Henry County, where I'm from, and then it goes east from there and covers most of Newton County, South and West Walton County, and all of Morgan County. So I'm a state senator. That's one of my two hats I wear. I'm also a full-time attorney, and most importantly, I'm a dad and a husband to my wife, Lindsay, and we have two little boys, a 5-year-old and a 7-year-old. And so they keep me on my toes down here, especially when I'm not doing the political thing or my law job. I try to spend as much time as I can with my boys as well.
Well, that's what it's all about, being a family man. You gotta do that kind of stuff.
Oh, Walton County. Bruce Williamson, I guess.
I know Bruce very well, and Vicky, of course, too.
Yeah, great folks.
Good friends of ours out there.
Yeah.
That's right, great folks. He's been representing Walton County for a long time, and definitely a rock star out there.
I'm sure has.
Good deal. All right, so there's something big on the table here that you've been wanting to announce to folks. You've already come right out of the gate and let some people know about it, but we're going to let our audience know this morning. So what is this huge announcement that you have?
Yes, sir. So I'm going to run for Attorney General next year, and as you all know, I'm sure you've heard Chris Carr has decided to run for governor, so it opens up the Attorney General spot. Such a very important position for our state. And I tell people, if you don't care about the AG's office or know what it does, wait until the wrong person gets there. It's such a very important position. We got to have the right person there. And what I've seen in my time in the state Senate, for example, we passed Senate Bill 202 several years back. And this was our election reform bill that overhauled how we do elections in our state. Had lots of moving parts to it. Very important bill. Restored a lot of confidence in our elections as well. And what I saw as a state senator is we go to the floor and we debate that bill, and we're winning the debate. The bill passes, and you couldn't see any logical arguments, in my opinion, against it. And next thing you know, you see Stacey Abrams come out and say the bill does something it doesn't do, saying it makes it hard for people to vote. You also see lawsuits saying it's unconstitutional. And I found myself literally taking the bill, a big bill, and traveling around my district, going out to Morgan, Walton, Newton County, and going to the chamber and the Rotary clubs and saying, here's the bill. Here's exactly what it does. It's not unconstitutional. It's not doing what they're saying they're doing. And I find once I did that, everyone would be quiet and say, okay, you're right. The bill doesn't do what they say it was going to do. But what we see consistently, and what I've learned as a state senator, is only so much you can do, unfortunately, in the legislative branch, because you go and pass legislation, and then the left, when they can't win the debate, they go across the street to the courthouse and they sue. And it takes one judge, one person's opinion, and if you get the right judge from the left, it's not hard to get this opinion to strike down that law. And so the big part of the Attorney General's office, to me, what's so important is to make sure you have the right person there that not just will defend our policies, but also knows how to win in the courthouse as well. And that's where I'm excited about. I'm excited about taking the fight we've had at the state capitol and the success we've had at the state capitol across the street to the courthouse and take the fight there to defend our values in Georgia.
No doubt. So, and we've been looking into this just a little bit as far as what folks are really looking for in someone that's going to stand up for the people of this good state. A lot of people have the same question. What are you going to fight for most? What is something that you really are passionate about? What's something that you care about immediately coming into office?
Well, first off, the Constitution and our rights as a state. I believe that we should remain a republic, even though a lot of folks want to take that power away from the states. I believe that it works best to have government closest to the people. These are high-level, basic thoughts that I have and foundations that I believe we should have as a government. And what you're seeing from the left is you're seeing an effort to erode the power of the states. You're seeing an effort to put more power in the federal government. Again, you're seeing an effort really to silence the voices of those who vote for someone like me to go and fight for certain values at the state capitol. And then they go again across the street and find a judge that says, you know what, I know better than you. I know better than the electorate. I know better than these people that have been elected to pass laws, and I'm going to make policy from the bench. And so to me, that is what is so important about this role. And the biggest thing that I want to see is someone that's willing to go and, one, understands conservative policy. And I've got experience fighting for conservative policy, as I mentioned, other issues like not just election reform, but constitutional carry, the heartbeat bill, the bills we saw this past session in particular dealing with people that are trying to have surgeries on minors to change their genders or want to use taxpayer dollars to pay for surgeries on inmates. Those kind of policies, you got to understand the policy itself and how to fight for good policy, but then you have to go now across the street and defend those in a courtroom where folks are trying to say these things are unconstitutional. And so that is why this job is so important, having the right person that's so important there. And we saw yesterday from the U.S. Supreme Court, we saw a decision, of course, looking at a law in Tennessee where Tennessee passed common sense measure like we passed here in Georgia that says we're not going to have hormone therapies, we're not going to have surgeries on minors in our state. Again, very much common sense law, in my opinion. And you saw an effort to go sue and say that's unconstitutional. Somehow that violates the 14th Amendment. And luckily we have a conservative court that said that's not a good argument and said that the states have a right to make policies like that. And in Georgia this past year, the thing that stood out to me during session the most was when Democrats in the state house walked out on a vote. And the only vote all year they walked out and protest on was a vote that said we're not going to use taxpayer dollars to have surgeries on inmates to change their genders. And what did the left do? They knew they couldn't win that debate, so they walked out of the state house and refused to vote on it. And then when it still passed, now we see they go to the courthouse and try to sue there.
That sounds ridiculous to me. Senator, this boils down to the lack of common sense, and it seems like the two parties are divided between common sense and no common sense. It's the craziest thing to me. We were just speaking with Congressman Andrew Clyde just a minute ago, and it seems like this isn't just in the state of Georgia. It seems like this is everywhere across the country. And we need fighters that are going to stand up for conservative values.
That's right. And one of the things that you see, you look at from a national standpoint, is other states that share our values. You pull together and would join in certain lawsuits to try to slow down what the Biden administration was trying to do, where they were trying to, overturn a lot of our laws in our state, come in and nationalize laws, what we do here in Georgia. And you have to not just fight in your own state, but you have to take that fight to D.C. as well. And now, fortunately, with President Trump being in office, it's the other way around. You want to go up there and defend President Trump and defend what he's trying to do when it comes to enforcing our laws, of course, securing our borders. Immigration is something we could talk about for a long time, all the issues we're seeing there. But we now have to take a stand with the president and say, you know what, the voters in Georgia have a right to pass our own laws. We have a right to do things that reflect our own values. And again, it's such a basic concept that you're taught in grade school. But what we're seeing from the left is an effort to say, you know what, we know better than you. We're going to have a top-down approach, big government at the top, academics at the top making policy instead.
No doubt. And folks, if you're just tuning in with us, we're talking to Senator Brian Strickland. And Senator, you're from the 42nd District, is that correct?
That's correct. And no one usually knows our district numbers. Even when you live in a district, you may not know your district number. They change frequently. It used to be District 17, and now it's District 42. And one of the unique things about where I live, if you know anything about the South Metro, the first thing you think about is all the traffic, of course, on 75. When I tell people where I'm from, I say, I'm from McDonough, where I grew up. They say, oh, that's where all that traffic is. Not only do we have a lot of traffic here, we've seen a lot of shifting in demographics here over the last 10 years. And in my time in office, one of the unique things about my district is I'm in a district that is not a deep red district. Y'all are very fortunate to live in an area of the state where it's much deeper red than where I live. My friend Bo Hatchett, who y'all have representing you, has a deep red district up in northeast Georgia. But down my way, it is a purple or light blue district. And so I've had to fight year after year in my elections to keep this seat. Going back to 2012, when I first ran for the state house inside of Henry County, I've had general election battles every 2 years, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24. And I've had to defend myself as a Republican down here and get folks that don't always agree with us on a lot of issues to still reelect me. And I've been successful in doing that by working hard, staying true to who I am. And and I tell people, even if you don't agree with me, I think people respect the fact that I can articulate the issues. I do exactly what I say I'm going to do on the campaign trail. I'll go and do that when I get in office. And that's how you get reelected in a district like this.
Well, no doubt, and it's obvious the proofs and the results. With all of those different elections and re-elections, it seems like you're doing something right. So my question is, we've got just a few minutes left. For the voters out there that really don't know you and that may have tuned in a little late, what makes you the right candidate for Attorney General?
That's a great question, and when I talk about myself on the campaign trail, I always start with talking about all of the elections that we won for a reason. Because, again, you can't just go and win tough elections in a tough district and then just go in office and go have great sound bites, go get your picture made, drop bills that don't really do anything but sound good on a campaign mailer. You have to have results. And so what you see in Brian Strickland, when you research me, you learn more about me, hopefully what you'll see is someone that works hard every single day. I want to go to the Attorney General's office to do the job. I want to be a credible voice for us at the national level, to fight for us at the national level. I want to make sure that other parts of the job we didn't talk about, such as enforcing the laws and taking on organized crime in our state, gangs in our state, human trafficking. I want to be the guy that leads those charges and works with our conservative district attorneys to take on tough crime around our state. I want to go to our state agencies and make sure they're functioning properly. This is the job of the person that'll be legal counsel for all your state agencies that folks deal with every single day in dealing with state government. And so you see someone that works really, really hard, wants to do the job, workhorse, not a show horse, and that's what you'll get in me. And I encourage you to reach out at stricklandforgeorgia.com, stricklandforgeorgia.com. If you're on social media, we're on all the social media outlets as well. Love to let you learn more about me and connect with you. I'd love to earn your vote next May.
All right. Well, good deal. So, Senator, I've got to ask the question, are you going to be doing any trips around the state, doing any campaign fundraising?
Yes, sir. We are wide open. I was actually close to your neck of the woods in Gainesville yesterday. We are all over the place. And so if you go to our website at stricklandforgeorgia.com, you can sign up for our newsletter and sign up to get updates from us, and we'll let you know where we're going to be, because I'd love to see you at these events. And just show up and let me have a chance to meet you one-on-one, look you in the eye, and let you learn more about me. But we are going to be wide open over the next year.
There you go. Well, if you ever get some time, come up here to beautiful Clarksville in Habersham County. I know a lot of the voters up here would love to get to sit down and talk to you and just learn more about who you are as an individual and go from there. But, hey, I've got to say something, too, and a lot of people don't get this credit. Having the willingness to run for office and having the willingness to stand up for all the folks here in Georgia, I mean, that takes a lot. Not only in that role would you be representing, the conservatives, but you would be representing all folks, whether you're left, right, or center. And,
right.
That takes a lot to do that. So we just want to say thank you for being willing to run for office.
That means a lot. And then, look, I will use every excuse I can to get up to Northeast Georgia. Clayton, in particular, is one of my boys' favorite places to go. They love your toy store there in downtown. They love Wander. We love Northeast Georgia. And so we'll take every excuse we can to get up your way. Good
deal. Well, hopefully we can sit down with you live in studio one day. And, Senator, we wish you all the best and hope to talk to you again soon.
Thank you. I appreciate y'all's time this morning.
All right. Folks, you've been listening to Senator Brian Strickland. He's running for Attorney General here in the state of Georgia, so we're going to get some more updates on that as the campaign trail runs on.